Well, I think we all know what happened. 27-24. Nick Foles nails a 56-yard field goal as time expires, and the Jets beat the Falcons, who are now, Dimino, 1-6 outright as favorites this season. That, according to ESPN research.
Ask me what I find most amazing about that.
I think I know the answer, but I'll ask nevertheless. What do you find the most amazing about that?
The Falcons have been favored 7 times.
Yep.
Let me try that again.
I knew.
The Falcons have been favored 7 times.
I knew that was going to be the answer.
Cut.
And with the loss, Raheem Morris, Chris, 12-17 in his last 2 seasons now with the Falcons.
Yep.
He's 33-55 overall as a head coach. So that's a winning percentage of 375, ranking last among active head coaches with at least 3 years of experience. So
always got to find a way to get better.
Those of you that got mad at me a few weeks ago, I'm just laying it out, and I'm telling you like it is. The guy is not a winner as a head coach. That's it. He doesn't win.
I don't know. Look, again, you and I know. The numbers say you're right. I know the tone of that comment, and so do you. It doesn't matter. The numbers say you're right. Here's the other number. I think for the guys with 80 decisions, like 80 coaching decisions, there's 151 of them. I think he ranks like 141st. You know, in the recency pool of, how many games do you need to have a body of work where we're going to rank you? And I believe he might be 141 out of 151 because it's 80 decisions. Remember, a couple of guys got popped year 1 and year 2. So as bad as they were, they don't even count. This was you got to 80 games coached.
Well, I'm sure glad they fired Ike Hilliard because that made a huge difference in the grand scheme of things. Don't fire your special teams coordinator, but fire your receivers coach. Because, once again, we sound like a broken record. Special teams were the issue. The fumbled punt by Jamal Agnew leads to a short touchdown run, and then they allow an 83-yard kickoff return after taking a 17-14 lead, and that leads to a Jets field goal that ties the game. So 2 major special teams errors lead to 10 points, and you lost by 3.
I almost was willing to, if the headset was actually plugged into something, I would talk and I'd say, hey, the next time they punt, let's not put anybody out there. Let's try that. Let's try that. Maybe somebody won't be dumb enough to actually try to field a punt at 5. Maybe we'll get away with one, and the ball will bounce in our direction, or it'll bounce out of bounds at the 18, but we didn't have to worry about it for a minute.
I mean, this is football 101.
You give away, let me do this. The turnover's bad enough. The fact that he even decided to play that ball, that is so not coaching. That is a stupid player, by the way. Let's make sure we understand that. I do blame the player at the moment. I blame the coaches for not having the fear of Christ and everything else in them for making that play, attempting to make that play. But every time you give up a return, you just gave up, 3 first downs they might have had gotten to actually be in the position they're in when you are terrible on coverage.
Here's Raheem Morris talking about the muffed punt.
You got to let that go. You got to let it go. You got to let it touch the ground. Obviously, you put the ball on the ground, you give them the ball on the 2-yard line, they get an easy touchdown there, that hurt you.
Yes, it did. And you fell behind at that point 7-0.
We should make all his cuts like that. Then I don't have to get crazy listening to him. That was perfect. Yeah, we can't do that. Gave him the ball to 2, they scored an easy touchdown. That's pretty bad.
Then he let another one go that was returnable, so he doesn't know whether he's coming or going as a returner. And the Falcons have allowed an NFL worst almost 30 yards per kickoff return.
That's 3 first downs, folks.
29th in the league.
3 plays, 7 plays, whatever it might be where somebody could make a mistake. You are giving away free first downs by not being able to cover.
29th in something called expected points added through special teams, minus 27.5. They were 30th in that category last year. And does that mean that Marquise Williams, the special teams coordinator, is going to lose his job? Somebody asked Coach Ra about that yesterday.
You love to get rid of people today. Like, we don't make emotional decisions. We know that. We won't talk about those things. We never do that. That's not our code. That's not our ethics. That's not who we are. That's not what we are. It's not our decision. That's not what we do today.
Well, what are you? And what's emotional? I just gave you some numbers. They're terrible. They've been terrible. They allow a big return every week. There's nothing emotional about that.
He wasn't going to change my mind. He wasn't going to win me over. But I did say, and I was texting not with you guys, but with somebody else, and I just said, you know what? Today he could actually have a good press conference. He can come in and say, special teams dog bleep. Not catching a football at the end of the game, dog bleep. That's how and why you lose football games. He could have done that. He doesn't do it. It's not their style. It's not their ethics. It's not their moral. It's not whatever the hell it is. I don't even know what other words to use. You had an opportunity to lay it on the line where your fan base would have at least known that what happened yesterday was unacceptable in multiple parts of your game.
Ken Segura was out there from the AJC covering this game, and he talked to Jets kick returner Isaiah Williams after the game. He said, yeah, we saw gaps. We saw gaps all over the place on film leading into this game when it comes to their kick coverage. So everybody's seeing the same thing, and nobody's doing anything about it.
You want the good news? You want good news for Arthur Blank? The good news is Lane Kiffin, SEC championship game, college football polls and rankings come out tomorrow night, and anything else that might come up. You brought up Jalen Johnson. That's a bonus gift for Arthur Blank. Here's the bad news. How many NFL cities do you think there are so many other things that you want to choose to talk about because you don't drive the bus? You are not the engine. You're the caboose. And the only time we talk about you is when you do ridiculously stupid things. Now, the Jets tried to help you. I don't know what in the holy hell they were doing calling a timeout with 12 seconds. When you're a terrible football team and you've won 2 games, why are you actually taking a chance doing anything? And even that, because you're the Falcons, couldn't help you win a football game yesterday.
Your point, Chris, is normally it's a given on Mondays.
There's no
when
doubt.
the Falcons play, the first segment is going to be dedicated
Any NFL team
to the Falcons. Or, you're right, City X that has an NFL team. Took us an hour to talk about the Falcons. That's how far removed they are with everything else going on. They're not important. They're irrelevant.
And that's my bad news for Arthur Blank. I said I got something else to tell Arthur Blank. You know, we've hemmed and hawed about the idea, how many TikTok followers do you have? Who cares? How many Twitter followers do you have? Who cares? How much run do you get with your little snippets? Who cares? You've got to start thinking about the big picture. And I think for a long time now, they've thought about ancillary stuff. You know what I believe. You have to do this publicly. You have to abdicate the throne. Don't do it kicking and screaming, and nobody needs to throw you out of the castle. Like, that's not me. I got other people. I'm not happy with people talking about Arthur Smith personally. I'm just, it just bothers me a little bit. Arthur Blank, excuse me. Arthur Smith I didn't care about him, to tell you the truth. He earned everything that people said about him. But nobody is throwing you out of the house. You just have to leave the house. It's still your house.
But it's, going back to your point, Chris, it's absurd every time we talk about the Falcons that we have to talk about things that are seemingly impossible. The last 3 kickoffs went into the end zone, which is not really something you want to do because the other team's going to get the ball at the 35. But their coverage unit was so bad that I think Raheem Morris said, you know what? I don't care what you have to say, Marquise Williams. We're kicking this thing into the end zone, and we're giving the Jets the ball at the 35 because we don't trust anything going on with this unit, this kick coverage unit. It's terrible.
I don't do it because I don't care enough. Did anybody count? Have there been 11 guys on the field when they're doing this? There are 11, right? I mean, we are putting 11 people out there. Okay.
But they're seeing gaps. Isaiah Williams said, I really didn't even do much. I just ran straight ahead. The hole was there. I didn't have to do anything.
I'm not even angry. And if you want to tell me, well, no, just keep him now. Sure, that's part of the narrative. Think about that. Part of the narrative is, don't fire the coach now. What's it going to do? What a horrible, horrible place to be. What a terrible place to be.
Essentially where you are right now. The Falcons, this is a familiar story as well. Outgained the Jets by over 100 yards, 120 yards to be exact, but they convert only 4 of 12 third down attempts. On the opening drive of the game, tell me if this makes sense. Make it make sense. I challenge you, in fact, everybody out there to make it make sense. You're driving down the field. Bijan Robinson, I think he had 21 yards on his first 3 carries of the game. You got a 3rd and 1. You put in Felipe Franks at quarterback, and he pitches it to a guy that doesn't run on the perimeter, but runs up the middle in Tyler Algier. He gets stuffed for a loss, and they have to punt. Why would you do that? For what reason would you do that if you're Zach Robinson?
Well, because he wasn't told he can't do that. The head coach didn't, that headset thing. He would have heard Felipe Franks is running out to do something.
You sit there and you go, this is amazing that they're this inept.
If he's a real head coach, this is, again, my shot. It's a terrible idea to do it. The head coach should have literally looked at everybody and said to his headset, that's not happening. 7. Bijan Robinson's number would have been spit into that headset emphatically as to what we're doing here. But it wasn't. Because, again, you're not cute enough. Like, you think you're cute. You're the guy wearing the flip-flops in the shower shoes, and you're not good enough. Like, that's the type of play that you think you're cuter than somebody else. You're not. You're not. I'm not angry about it because it doesn't shock me, maybe the way it shocked you. Because play calling, whether it's Wednesday game plan, Thursday game plan, Friday, Saturday, ballroom time, Sunday, certainly in games, you go, yeah, they'll do something. I don't know why they... Do you know how many times we must have broken a record this year where announcers in the booth had to ask, why did they do that? Or why didn't they do that? We must be a record holder this season. And with this guy for the last 2 years. Like nobody, there's not a chance national guys in the booth have ever asked more than asking about what is it we're doing in terms of decisions.
The Falcons got a 24-17 lead with 8:46 left, and they couldn't do anything with the ball. And the Jets, when they tied the game, they went 15 plays. And then on the last 2 times the Falcons had the ball, Kirk Cousins 1 of 5 for 5 yards. Now, he had a drop, but still, if there's anything around that pocket, Kirk Cousins is cooked. He's going to check it down, or he's going to eat it, or he's going to throw it away. He cannot do things on his own. Here's Kirk Cousins talking about the last 2 drives.
I know we had, I think, 6 plays. We just couldn't get it started, and we had the run to start the first 2-minute drill. Pitts was the second drive or the first drive? Second one. That's the one that I felt we had him. You know, would love to connect down the sideline there and get it going. And even the drive before that, we just couldn't get the drive to sustain.
And for the love of everything that might be holy, please, do you understand how low the bar is for Kyle Pitts to be talked about the way that they were trying to talk about him yesterday?
7 catches, 82 yards.
Yeah. Number 4 pick overall that I paid for 5 years.
That should be a routine performance for him. You see that catch Brock Bowers made yesterday? I like to see Kyle Pitts do something even remotely close to that.
The point is, that's what the bar is. You're looking at that game and going, wow, look at Kyle Pitts. Yeah, I'm not wowed by him. I mean, I'm not giving him a break by talking about him showing up in the Meadowlands one day. And do you understand, you had a Jets team that was certainly capable of rolling over and dying, and you did nothing to have that happen. And Tyrod Taylor, I don't think he's going to be a player of the week. I don't think he was that good. But
he made plays when they needed him to make plays, that's for sure.
But somebody might send in a little slip of paper that says, yeah, you know what he is? He's the 3rd player of the week.
And you waste Bijan Robinson again. 23 rushes, 142 yards, 5 catches, 51 yards. Rushes for that touchdown. He's 2nd in the NFL in yards from scrimmage. He's accounted for a league-high 38.3% of the Falcons' yardage this season. He's all they got, man, especially with Drake London being out. And you're wasting him. You're wasting Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned these are, I don't want to call them empty calorie numbers. You take a beating in the NFL when you carry the ball. I understand that. They're not empty calorie because he's earned them. He's a good enough talent. But in terms of what you're doing to him, you know, I don't want to see him carry the ball 30 times for the next, how many games are left? 5? I don't want to see him carry the ball 30 times. I don't. I'm just going to risk him getting you-know-what. I'm going to risk him being a little bit beat up. I'm going to risk the possibility of the S word where a doctor has to get involved. It's over. He doesn't need to carry the ball. Like if the light goes off and they say, you know what, he needs 30 touches, please turn the light off.
This is now 6 games in a row the Falcons couldn't clear the 40% conversion rate on 3rd downs.
What an accomplishment.
18.2%. Not really, Snit. 18.2% against Miami, 10% against New England, 0% against Indianapolis, 36.4% against Carolina, even against New Orleans, 25.9%, 33% yesterday. So at least they're consistent, Chris, in that regard. At least we know we can count on the Falcons coming up short on 3rd down.
You've lost close games, one-score games all over God's green earth because you're not capable of winning them. That when I say I trust Georgia to win a game, I trust them. I've seen it with my own eyes. I don't trust the Falcons to win a game. And this idea that you were going to beat the Saints, then beat the Jets, it's ridiculous.
It was Carolina, it was the Saints, and it was the Jets. And you went 1 and 2.
It was a joke. The idea that playoffs were mentioned last week. I mean, thank God Tampa wins and Carolina wins where don't bring up. I'll tell you this. If you're walking around this week trying to do the math on this, let me look at the NFL standings. Oh, wait. If you're the guy doing that this week, I promise you, everybody should just let you should be talking to yourself at the coffee pot. Everybody should just leave. Don't even say goodbye to Jim or Sally, whoever wants to tell you the Falcons. You know, let me tell you what's going on. Just leave.
I watched that fifth quarter
Don't
show.
tell him goodbye. Just leave.
With Chernoff on Fox 5 right after the game yesterday. They had the kid out there in the Meadowlands, and I can call him a kid because he's probably like 30 years younger than me. And he had Jake Matthews in the locker room. He says, you guys, and I'm paraphrasing, but you guys are just so bad in the fourth quarter. You just can't sustain leads. Why is that? I thought Jake Matthews was going to grab his head and squish it like a melon.
I'm going to tell you, Jake Matthews has no right to do that. He has there are times that I believe somebody should be put through 3 walls.
Jake paused for a second and went, that's a good question.
Yeah, that's what he should say.
I give him credit for asking. I'm not bashing the kid. I give him credit for asking that question.
I'm trying to look online. Can I just, as a quick aside, NFL.com is one of the worst websites in the history of websites. The way this thing is set up, do you know that they don't have a separate standings bar? You have to go to stats and go 3 down just to find NFL standings, which seem pretty important. Now, I don't think we're doing that who's clinched thing yet, but let me just see the Falcons. We're not eliminated. We are not eliminated. So you got that going for you. And again, if somebody around the coffee pot or your bowling league says that, just leave.
I think the kid said it yesterday. There's less than a 1% chance of going to the postseason. I believe that's what the kid said yesterday.
Why was anybody trying to give me this garbage last week? I mean, yeah, okay. And then the reality was we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons.
You're just trying to cling to hope, that's all. Here's Kirk Cousins answering the same question. Why are you so consistently bad?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have moments certainly throughout the season where you're not good in a lot of different areas of football. But certainly when there's a consistency to it, then it's clearly more of something that has to really get addressed and get improved. And I do think that, if we can be really strong on third down the last 5 weeks of the year, I think it puts us in a position to, really like where we are by the end.
That is such a stupid statement. How are you going to like where you are? How are you going to, you're playing next to nobody. Like Seattle's pretty good. Then you got the Cardinals and you got the Saints again. You're playing nobody. Who are you trying to convince that in 5 weeks from now you're going to be okay with where you are? Again, this is not understanding the room. This is not understanding your lot in life. You've lost the fight. It's over. What do you want to do? Get mouthy now? You've been counted out. You stink. And by the way, here's the crazy part. When you look at this division, and believe me, Tampa's no shakes. They're not. They're a minus 22. The Carolina Panthers are a minus 50. You're a minus 33, and you feel and are so much worse than those two football teams. So that's why I don't do point differentials a lot. But what it does tell me is when you're 4-8 with a minus 33, you stink on the sideline.
Seattle comes to town, as you said, this week. They beat the Vikings yesterday, 26-0. Now, think about this. Max Brosmer started this week, and his QBR was 32.8. This is according to Bleacher Report. In Week 12 with J.J. McCarthy, the Vikings QBR was 34.2. If you spike the ball on every play as a quarterback, do you know what your QBR would be? 39.6.
So that's like the SAT where you get 200 points just for showing up?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
So if Brosmer and J.J. McCarthy came to the line of scrimmage and spiked the ball every play, their QBRs would be higher than they were in those two games.
You want the good news about Seattle coming to town? You want the good news?
What I'm saying is apparently that win over the Vikings really wasn't all that impressive on a Sunday night.
Yeah. Do you want the good news?
Yeah.
Well, there is none. They're 5-1 on the road. Their point differential is plus 133. They, with a quarterback who just came over there, have scored 107 more points than you. You were the one that drafted everybody in the top 10. You couldn't name 3 guys on Seattle. You couldn't. You know the quarterback situation because the quarterback situation has worked out.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he's a very good player.
Yeah, he's a good player. They drafted a guy who actually is a good player.
Yeah.
Contributing early, as they say. They've scored 107 more points than the Falcons.
Then you got A.D. Mitchell catching his first career touchdown, the one-time Georgia product, the guy that got traded from the Colts to the Jets in the Sauce Gardner deal. Should have had a touchdown with the Colts, but got rid of the ball before he crossed the goal line. Mike Hughes, I don't know what he was doing on that play. It looked like someone assassinated him in coverage on that play. He said, I tripped. You think?
Yeah. Here's the good news. I don't feel very compelled to do a deep dive into the Seahawks. Like me personally, I would sort of go, I got to find out a little bit more about Seattle. I just saw it. They're 9-3. They've scored 133 more points than they've given up. They scored 107 more than the Falcons. They're 5-1 on the road. There it is.